What is up, God Gamers? And today we're going to be making a tier list for the current patch 13.12, the first patch of the set, a tier list for all of the legends. And this is more in reference to this patch specifically, and the comps that are meta and all that good stuff. That is what we're mostly going to be basing this tier list off of, so you guys have another week of good stuff. But we will be talking a little bit about the overall design of some of the legends, because some of the legends have a pretty bad design that will put them pretty low on this list. So without further ado, we're going to go in alphabetical order, and I might shift these orders around as we go because once I have them in spots, maybe we can decide a little bit better. Okay, first up we have Aurelion Sol. And Aurelion Sol, to me, is just, he's the person who's supposed to get you to level 10, level 9. It's really hard to get to level 9, and it's impossible to get to level 10. And I just think he is the worst econ. He's just the worst version of Tahm Kench. So I'm going to put him all the way down in the D tier, actually. Maybe we'll think about this a little bit more and maybe move him, but I don't think there's any good reason to take Aurelion Sol at this time. I'm looking at it again. Patient Study is pretty solid. Like, Patient Study is fine. But other than that, man, I just don't really see a good reason why you'd want to take Aurelion Sol in the current meta. Lastly, something I want to say before we go into the other ones, guys, if you have a very specific playstyle or specific comp that you're playing that you found really effective with a particular legend, then hey, don't let me make you not do things. I'm just talking about the general overall design and how these legends are impacted in the meta. Next is Bard. And Bard is another one that's a little weird. Let's look at Bard's stuff. I don't play a lot of Bard. I never see anybody playing Bard. I've seen some people rate Bard kind of highly, but I don't feel good about Bard. Let's look at this stuff. Caretaker's Ally, level 6, gain a 2-star tier 3 unit. I think that's fine, but the other ones I don't think are very good. I just don't think this is good. And you're never getting the level 9, guys. So it's like you can't really take his prismatic. Getting the level 9 is a pipe dream unless you're smurfing for the most part. I'm going to put him at a C tier only because I've seen people actually run this one. And I think his silver tier augment's not too bad. But yeah. Okay, Caitlyn. Caitlyn, a lot of people play Caitlyn. And I'm going to straight up put her into the C tier. I considered putting her into the D tier just because of how popular she is and how bad I think she actually is. So let's look at some of Caitlyn's stuff. And again, we're really just referencing the 2-1 augments for most of these things. That's where augments are most impactful, is 2-1. Like, I think some of these are fine. I just think the starter kit one is just such a massive bait. And this gold tier one can be decent for top 4ing. You know, you just guarantee some early game strength. That's why I think she's fine in the C tier. But I really considered putting her in the F tier or the D tier just because of how popular she is and how people get baited so much by that prismatic one. I just do not think it's very good. Draven, my boy Draven. Draven is another one I'm going to put into C tier. I had considered putting him into the F tier or D tier because, again, I just think he's not that great. But I actually played a lot of him on a alt account, and I think he's really great in low elo. And I also think he's really great if you're smurfing, or if you like to play a really aggressive play style and you just play kind of balls to the wall. I think he can actually be pretty decent. And so, yeah, that's why I'm going to put him into the C tier. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun playing him, and I think he is good in low elo. So we'll put him there. Ezreal. Yo, Ezreal's my boy. He's my favorite legend. And sadly, he's in the D tier. He is in the D tier. Now, I thought he was pretty good because there's a lot of comps that run multiple carries, and just having extra items are going to be great. But it's just like there's never any reason to play Ezreal because you can play Ornn. And that's the chief problem with Ezreal. And you guys can already see a trend. We're going to be putting a lot of homies in these lower tiers down here. Now, these aren't where these guys go. I'm just moving them out of the way. I'll leave Poro down here for a bit. Okay. Next up is going to be Sir Thomas Kench. And let's look at Tahm Kench's... oh, wait, we're supposed to go in alphabetical order. Let's go Lee Sin. Never mind. Let's Lee Sin. Lee Sin. Let's do Lee Sin. Now, Lee Sin, I think, has a huge design problem. A very big design problem. Because he's supposed to be the reroll guy, right? On a roll is great for rerolling. Absolutely great for rerolling. Trade sector, I don't know what they're thinking when they put it into design. Guys, the only people who think trade sector is good on reroll builds are new players or players who are bad at playing reroll builds. Trade Sector is a tempo, it is for tempo. It's for, you get the free shop refresh and you get to have a new set of units and play around 2 stars, right? And like you can hold things on your bench to create strong mid-game comps as you're progressing. You don't have to roll. Like that's the benefit of Trade Sector, is you never have to roll down until you get to like your level 7 or level 8 roll down when you actually want to roll down. Trade Sector is absolutely dog shit for rerolling. Because what happens when you reroll is usually when you reroll like 1 and 2 cost comps, you want to lose streak early and generate econ so that you can roll for your stuff on 3-1. You know, you can get your 3 stars really early. I'm sure you guys have been in games where someone hits a Tristana Viego 3 at 3-1, and that's because they're able to econ and roll down. And 1-cost rerolls are typically not strong, even if you're hitting 2 stars, because you're not pushing levels. So whenever you're running Trade Sector with a 1-cost reroll or a 2-cost reroll, you create a situation where you're holding a lot of units on your bench because you are hitting some things. And so you're not hitting your econ thresholds, and you're not strong, and you're not weak because you actually hit your 2 stars. And so you're going to be beating the people who are lose streak, and you're going to be mixed streaking. You're going to be win-loss, 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 and you're not making econ on your bench. It is just a waste of an augment if you're trying to do it. Absolute dog shit. So Lee Sin, for that reason, his design is terrible. And so we're going to put him down here. He really needs some help on his design. But I do like On a Roll is cool. But that's about it. I think that one's cool. Okay. Next up, we are going to be looking at Master Yi. And Master Yi was not getting a lot of love on PvE, but he started getting a lot of love after he got a little bit of buffs and the nerfs to Vlad. He is one of the chief combat augment users, and Master Yi is going to go all the way up into the A tier. And so let me explain why. Because pumping up gives you attack speed, and it scales throughout the game. And he has a lot of augments that synergize with each other, like Battle Ready as well. So like he has really good default augments. If you have nothing good to take, you can take it. And pumping up is extremely good with a lot of the meta comps, like Zeri. You know, a player like Soju uses Master Yi a lot, and he's kind of he's a Zeri wizard. He just plays meta comps basically. But it can save you from playing TF and having to have triple Zeeks by just running Pumping Up. Pumping Up can kind of like cover up that weakness that a lot of AD carry comps have. And a lot of things like Azir, things like Aphelios, Zeri, that sort of thing. So Tristana, good in all of those compositions. So that's why Master Yi is going to go up here. Very good with a lot of the meta compositions. Next up is our boy Ornn. And Ornn, I think, without a doubt, is, you can debate him with TF, but I think he is the best legend. Guys, look at his silver tier augment. His silver tier augment is absolutely disgusting. Gain an Ornn item anvil after 7 combats. Silver tier. This is unbelievably broken, and you can get it nearly every game. And then other than that, it's just Ornn items, man. It's so good just getting Ornn items. And if you don't know, the broken Ornn items are Sniper's Focus. It's so insane on Zeri, Aphelios, Karma. It's super good on Karma, actually. I've been on that tech. So good on all the meta carries. And it's super good on Jhin, which is like the best 1-cost item holder in the game. It's broken on that carry as well. So Sniper's Focus is broken, and Eternal Winter is broken. So you just take this every game and you just play the lottery to see if you get one of those. But if you don't, a couple of the other ones are pretty decent as well. Like the duplicating one is pretty solid. It's very good for tempo. If you have an extra, you put it on a frontliner and you have 2 frontliners, 2-star frontliners early on in the game is also very good. So that's why Ornn is, he's the GOAT. All right, next up is Pingu. Now, I talked a little bit of shit about Pingu, but I actually kind of like Pingu, and I think he's really... Pingu can be very good, I think. So I'm going to put Pingu in the B. And if you don't know what Pingu does, Pingu has the Tiny Titans, which is not a very good augment, but it's fine at silver tier if you're not going to force. If you're willing to play flex, it can be fine. But a lot of stuff in this meta is about forcing, so it can be not good for that. Metabolic Accelerator, I just think is great. And then Tiniest Titan, I talked a lot of shit about it, but every time I've taken it, it's felt pretty good. So I think Pingu is actually pretty solid, and a lot of people are kind of sleeping on Pingu and thinks it's just for noobs. All right, next up is going to be... Now it is Sir Thomas Kinch. Sir Thomas Kinch. Now, Thomas Kinch, let's take a gander at his... He has AFK, one of the best augments in the game. Rich Get Richer, which depending on your playstyle can be a very good augment, especially if you want to roll. We're going to go fast 7 and then roll for your comp. Hedge Fund can be good, especially if you're smurfing. And so we're actually going to put Sir Thomas Kinch into the B tier. I've read Tahm Kench a little bit. I think again he's very good for forcing. He's good. He's good for like playing that lost streak style, and he's very good for like going fast 7, that sort of thing. So if that's a play style you want to play, and you want to like play a lottery for like Zeri or something like that, I think it can be very good. It's just on the downside, if you're running this, you're not running TF and getting the guaranteed items. But you know, if you're willing to play flex, or if you want to force like a 3-cost reroll, or play a lottery for like a comp like Aphelios, which is a very expensive and difficult comp to get, then you can play Tahm Kench. And it's just really his position solidly in the B tier is because that AFK augment is one of the best augments in the game. And now we're going to be talking about our boy. Oh, not our boy. Yeah, not our boy. I'm getting so out of order, guys. We're going to be talking about Twisted Fate, and we all know about Twisted Fate. I feel like I don't need to talk about this. It's a very easy S tier for Twisted Fate. You can guarantee perfect items. You just run triple Zeeks, and you flex Zeri. You flex Zeri, Aphelios, and Garen. Hell, you can even flex Azir. I don't recommend flexing Kai'Sa that much with that. She already has so much innate attack speed. But yeah, I don't think I need to talk more about TF. He is definitely the problem child of the set and all that good stuff. Now let's talk about Earth Boy. Let's talk about the Earth. So we got branching out, gain a random emblem and a reforger. I don't think that one's too great. Gain a Toma traits and 2 gold. Gain 2 Toma traits and 3 gold. So I actually think his other 2 augments are very good if you are forcing. If you're forcing, or if, yeah, really just if you're forcing. Like you can just wait to pop the Toma traits until you have Ionians on your board and play around Ionia. Very good synergy. You can wait till you have Shurimas on your board to try to tailor it. Get Shurimas. Very, very, very good. Getting things like Deadeye Emblem can be very good for forcing like Aphelios, or, you know, you can even play around Shurimans and play for, you know, put Deadeye on somebody to get Akshan's trait in, and then try to pivot to a an Aphelios comp. There's a lot of stuff to do with this. If you're forcing like a rogue, like there's a lot of people like force like rogues. They force like Zed, Katarina, Noxus comps, Garen comps, like Juggernaut, that sort of thing. It can be very good. Just if you're going to be playing around Earth, you need to be willing to play a loose streak style, be willing to sack a lot of your HP to kind of hard force into what your mid game and end game comp wants to look like. And you can be very powerful with Earth guys stuff. And I also like anything that can give you gold in the mid game, because I think a lot of people fumble the bag a little bit with their econ when they're playing early, especially early on in sets. And just getting something that guarantees you gold and a little bit of power can be very nice. So Earth guy is going to go straight up into the B tier. I think he's pretty solid. All right, next up is Vigar. And Vigar, he has Jeweled Lotus. This one's not very good. This one is good, and this one's super good, depending on the composition you're running. Tiny Power is fine, and Ascension. Something I really like about Vigar is all of his, he's a combat Andy, and all of his things synergize with each other. That's something I really like about it. But I do think running Vigar is very comp specific. So for example, if you guys are on that Invoker tech that I've been playing, or if you're playing Sorks, it can be good. So if you're forcing around AP, I think he can be good. But overall, I actually think he's in the C tier. He's just such an inferior version to Vlad and Master Yi. So that's why he has to go down here. And I think in certain comps, like Invoker, he's S tier, right? But in other comps, he's just not there, guys. In most of the meta comps, he is just not in a good spot. All right, now we're going to be talking about our boy Vlad. We love Vlad. And Vlad, he's got Transfusion. The best thing about Vlad is all 3 of his augments perfectly synergize with each other. So Transfusion gives you health, which is going to help you stall, going to make your team more tanky. Battle Ready gives you more damage. So if you have a low damage comp, and also makes you tankier. So perfect for stall comps. So look at this. Perfect for stall comps. Perfect for stall comps. Ascension, perfect for stall comps. So he has this great like linear setup together that works super great. And especially if you're willing to play a loose streak style and play like a comp that spikes mid game, or if you really want to take it to the edge and you're playing like playing on like a Targon map where you get the Stimmy Targon's Blessing, then you can go fast 7 and really get a great comp. And there's a lot of great stall comps in the meta. Like Aphelios is a decent style stall comp. You can build it like that, right? Azir is a good stall comp. If you want to get on that Ionian Jhin reroll tech when you have the angle, this is the best stuff. So Vlad is a very good default legend to play, and that's why our boy Vlad is going to go straight into the A tier, guys. He would be in the S tier, but he got giga nerfed, but he is super, super good. Okay, and last up, we have our king, the Poro. And, you know, I think a lot of people have strong opinions about Poro. Poro is an easy S tier. Let me just be real. It's an easy S tier. Now, if you're bad at the game or a new player, I don't necessarily recommend playing Poro. It's very hard to build a playstyle around that. But if you're an experienced player who's played several sets and you're using some of the stat websites right now, which are still available, you will see that a lot of the base augments are broken. And a lot of, and the way Legends are set up is the base augments are supposed to be, on average, better than the Legend augments. So that it doesn't create a system where everyone's playing the same Legend. Now, you can say whatever you want about TF and Ornn right now. They're kind of broken. But other than that, like, Poro is supposed to be, if you're like a flex Andy, it's supposed to be the best because the augments are so good. So, yeah, easy S tier right here. And guys, what do you think about my tier list? Again, this is just in reference to the meta, a little bit about design. Like Lee Sin definitely got some design things right there. I'm really sad I put my boy Ezreal down here. You know, I feel bad about it. I'm going to put my boy Ezreal up here now because I actually really like his second augment, guaranteed gold for tempo. And I think he can be fine with all the extra items if you're willing to play a lot of flex carries. Like, for example, if you play like a challenger comp and you want to run a trio carry like Yasuo, Kai'Sa, Kalista, if you're playing around challengers, I think Ezreal is actually great. And challengers are pretty decently meta. So if you're willing to run a lot of carries, I think Ezreal can be fine. I just think he's really hard to use. And it's just, you're better off playing Ornn. You're just really better. If you need extra items, you're better off playing Ornn, and he's just way better version of Ezreal. But we're going to move him up because I just don't think he belongs down here with these two stinkers. But anyways, guys, this is my tier list. What do you guys think? I hope this is helpful to you guys. I think if you want to climb, just play Ornn or TF. Hard force with TF, or just play Ornn. And Ornn is so broken, guys. And then I think if you're a new player, you're struggling, I don't think Poro is your best bet, probably. And then other than that, if you want a lot of combat augments, you want to test some things out, you want to play some of the meta comps, but you don't want to build triple Zeeks and play TF because that's a boring play style, then I think playing something like Master Yi can be good for that. And then Vlad is really great for a lot of these stall S comps that are in the meta, like Azir, Aphelios to a lesser degree, and then some of the rerolls that are very benefit a lot from stalling. But anyways, that's it, guys. I appreciate y'all. I love you all. And, of course, I love TFT.